Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another breathing session, number 46. I can't believe we're in week 10 already. Hi, Simon. Yeah, so it's another day and we're still breathing. Yay. Okay, so we'll just get started. I've still got all these chairs. I did fit the carpet, by the way. Not perfectly, but it's done and it's not too bad. So I'm very happy with that, but we just haven't got around to putting everything back. So still a bit of a mess here, but anyway. So we'll start with our feet hip distance apart. You can feel around, find the hip bone, point your fingers down. So then you want to be pointing at your big toe. So the idea is your big toe is just directly underneath your hip bones. And we want our weight equally distributed between the big toe, the outside of the foot, and the heel. So each foot is like a little tripod kind of thing. We want to have slightly bent knees. Or actually, if you're able to have straight legs without locking your knees in a sort of tense position, then that's great, that's like, well done you. I need to have slightly bent knees, and I think a lot of people, if you have your straight legs, gradually the tension kind of creeps in. So whatever's comfortable for you, just try not to have the tension, try not to lock your knees straight. And for me, I just find it easier if I just have slightly bent knees for the whole time. We're going to try and imagine we've got a string coming out the top of our head, like a marionette puppet. And hopefully that will help elongate our spine. So nice long neck, as straight a back as we can, shoulders down. And we're just going to, first of all, we're going to just rock forwards and backwards like this. And gradually make the rocking a little bit smaller, 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 until you finally come to just sort of rest in the center. And then it's quite a good way of sort of finding that center. So then we're going to do the same thing side to side. We're just going to rock and then gradually get smaller, smaller, till we come to sort of rest in the middle. And that's quite a good way, I find, to find that kind of center point. Because, when I'm saying try and have your weight equally distributed in your feet and stuff, it's like, well, if you have a tendency to, be leaning slightly forward, you don't always know. It is quite difficult, especially to begin with, to kind of translate what your mind knows your body should be doing into actually physically doing it with your body and to know what that feels like. So, like I say each time, it does help if you can look in the mirror whilst you're doing these exercises, just because, sometimes you might feel like you're standing straight, but actually you're leaning like this, and because it just feels so normal to you, you don't even realise that you're doing it. But if you haven't got a mirror, that's fine. Just still try and be extra mindful of what your body might be looking like, and just try and get used to, when you have an opportunity to look in the mirror, try and get into the best posture you can, and try and remember what that feels like. And then, just in everyday life, we want to try and be in that position. At first, sometimes it feels weird, but, gradually we get used to it. Okay, so we're just going to swing from our hips, and we're just going to relax our arms. Make sure you can't bang into anything. We're just going to relax our arms, just let them flap round. Now, ideally, you want your spine and everything to now be sort of still staying in that nice straight posture, and it's just your arms that are sort of flapping round with the momentum. I'm pretty bad at keeping my back nice and straight, and my head kind of goes all over the place. So don't watch me, don't copy me, because you'll probably do this better than I do it. But the idea is that everything is nice and straight, and we're just swinging from our hips, and our arms are just flapping round with the momentum of the swing. And hopefully this is just going to warm us up a little bit, shake out some of the creaks and creases, and just get the blood sort of pumping a bit in a nice gentle way, but kind of warming us up. Okay, very good. So just shake it out. Excellent. Okay, so each week we kind of use a different part of our body. We're sort of focusing on a different part of our body in the warm-up. I did promise I would do some lying down exercises, so I've got myself a book. We're going to lie on our backs. I'll angle the camera. Now, ideally, so it's difficult to explain, but not everybody needs to have a book under their head. What we want to do, we're going to lie down on our backs with our feet on the floor and our knees in the air. That position is called semi-supine. And you want to kind of feel like your back is sort of flat on the floor. So depending on the natural curvature of your spine, you know, some people find it helpful to have a book under their head because it just helps to sort of obviously raise your head, and that helps to be able to flatten your back. Different people need a different thickness of book. I don't know if, I think mine might be a little bit too thick, but it's fine for now. So just see if you could see me. So we're going to lie on the floor. Hang on, just get this dirty plate out the way. I should have cleared up a bit better before. Okay, so we're going to lie on our back, and we want the book under our head. If you put your hands under your head and just gently sort of pull it up so that your chin is tucked down, and you want to try and feel your back. You don't really want to be able to, you know, fit anything. If I take the book away, then my back curls up a bit here. So if I put the book here, most people will need probably half this book. I have quite a curled spine, so I usually use 2 books or a thicker book. Anyway, if you can just get into this comfortable sort of position, you want to try and feel like your back is sort of reasonably straight on the floor. So we're just going to bring our knees up like this and just gently pull them, and this hopefully as well is also going to help pull our, in a very gentle way, just flatten our spine here, because as we pull our knees up, it's just going to sort of stretch that. And then we're just going to gently place one foot, then the other. And you know, sometimes it's good to just be in this position. It really does help relax your back and everything. So if in doubt, you know, because what this is doing is just trying to put your spine in the right position. You know how I'm always saying we just want to relax and we don't want any muscles working that don't need to work. This is a very good position to sort of get yourself into that, I don't know what the word is, but sometimes you could just stay in this position. You just lie like this for sort of half an hour or something, it can just sort you out. Okay, so we're gonna roll our knees to one side, and then we're gonna come to the center, and then we're gonna roll to the other side. You might find that your knees can go all the way down to the floor, or you might find they can hardly go anywhere. We want to try and keep our back on the floor, so we're not rolling our whole body, we're just rolling our knees. And you might find, you know, one side is almost always looser than the other side, so don't worry if it's, you know, easier on one side. That's quite normal. And we'll just finish this one and come back to the center, and then we'll bring our knees back up, just gently stretch out the back again, and then one foot, then the other. Okay, we're going to try now to just gently lift just our sort of hips and our pelvis, and then slowly put it down. As you put it down, I want you to try to be going vertebra by vertebra, starting kind of at the top until you get all the way down, and then just relax. And then we're going to just lift again. Just hold it for a sec, and then just vertebra by vertebra, starting at the top. I'm really trying to sort of stretch ideally each time you do it, your back's gonna just get that little bit longer and straighter sort of thing. And one more time. And again, you want to try and still have your feet on the floor with, you know, the sort of weight. So, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but at one point I was sort of going like this. We want to try and have our knees, you know, pointing at the ceiling, weight sort of equally distributed. We don't want to sort of be moving around if possible. You know, sometimes you will by accident, but what we're striving to achieve is just a nice straight. Okay, so we're going to switch to some breathing now. So what I say each week, if anybody's new, we always breathe from our diaphragm. So if you feel around, find your rib cage. Just underneath your bottom ribs is a big sort of tarpaulin type muscle. That's called the diaphragm. That's, whatever happens, you always use that when you breathe. You know, people often talk about, oh, breathe from your diaphragm. You always use your diaphragm when you breathe because your lungs are just bags. And, you know, the diaphragm is the muscle that we use. But what we're trying to do in these exercises is, rather than what people often think of breathing as actively taking in a breath and then relaxing to sigh out the breath, we're flipping that the other way around. What we want to do is push with the diaphragm to squeeze the air out of our lungs. Then when we get to the end of the breath, we relax, drop the diaphragm and just allow the air to flood back in. And that's how you're able to control your voice as you're speaking or singing, because the muscular part is pushing the air out, which is the vocal part. So seeing as we're in this lying down position, if you were here last week, you'll remember we were on all fours and we were pushing our tummies sort of up to the ceiling as we were squeezing the air out of our lungs, and then dropping it to the floor when we relaxed to allow the air to flood back in. So this time, because we're lying on our backs, as we push with our diaphragm to squeeze the air out of our lungs, so we're going to find a spot on the ceiling that's our eye level. We'll channel the breath to that spot. But as we're pushing, this time we're going to be pushing our tummies down to the floor. So you can have your arms by your sides, or if you want to lightly rest them on your ribs, that's absolutely fine. And we're just going to channel the breath to the spot. And in our mind's eye, we're going to picture the diaphragm pushing upwards to squeeze the air out of our lungs. And we're going to also imagine our tummy pushing down into the floor. Then we're going to push a little bit more. Then we're going to hold it. Then when we relax and drop our diaphragm, we're going to sort of imagine our tummy going up towards the ceiling. So we'll just do a couple of those and then we'll crack on with the normal routine. So just come to the end of whatever breath you're currently on. Then we're going to roll to one side and push up, come to a kneeling position, and then kneel up, one foot, then the other foot, so that you just come to a nice relaxed standing position. Very good. Just put this book over there. Okay, so let's just raise that a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to get back into our comfortable standing position, feet hip distance apart, nice long neck. And I don't know about you, personally, after I've been lying in semi-supine like that, I find it much easier to get into the correct standing position. You know, for whatever reason, like, I don't know if you find that really helpful too, but for me, I feel like as I stood up, I'm sort of naturally in this position. Normally I have to sort of try and straighten up, but I kind of feel like I'm halfway there already. So it's a very good one to remember if you've got the space and the time to just get in that position. It's very good. Okay, so feet hip distance apart, weight equally distributed, big toe outside of your foot and heel, nice long neck. This is comment. Oh, great, thank you, Simon. Glad that was helpful to you. Yeah, I find that one really helpful. So we're just going to breathe now, as we were with the pushing with the diaphragm, relaxing and dropping. In a minute, we'll add the arm movements where we bring our hands up like this as we breathe out. That represents the diaphragm pushing the air. Then we're going to drop the hands as we drop the diaphragm. Then we'll bring our arms up, which represents our rib cage expanding as our lungs fill with air. So first we'll get into a little rhythm. We're just going to bend and straighten our knees. Again, if you need to not have your knees fully straight when you straighten them, that's absolutely fine. On every up, we'll breathe in and out. So we'll get into the rhythm, so it'll be like out and in and out and in and push and relax and push and drop the diaphragm, expand the rib cage, and now we'll add the arms. We'll go to the side on the next one. Very good. And shake it out. Okay, so we're going to get back again into the correct standing position. So now's the time, if you want to sit down, or, I mean, I'm not going to lie down now just because I've got to angle the camera and everything, but if you want to do these, again, lying down, that's absolutely fine. So whatever position is comfortable for you at this point, I'm just going to do them standing up. And I recommend, for anybody that's doing these exercises because they want to improve their singing, if you would normally stand whilst you're singing, then do this standing. If you want to sit down, if you want to lie down, whatever's comfortable, just make sure you get into the right position. So if you're going to sit down, still get into the correct standing position, then just sort of bend your knees and sit in the chair. If you're going to lie down, try lying in semi-supine like we just did. And just take a minute to kind of get comfortable. Try and feel like your back is kind of pushing into the floor. Hug your knees a little bit, just get into the right position. So now we're just going to channel the air. So if you're sitting or standing, you're going to find a spot on the wall that is roughly your own eye level. Again, ideally, if you can be looking in the mirror, that's perfect, because obviously it's the right height for you, and also you can see if any little bad habits start creeping in. If you're lying down, obviously you'll find a spot on the ceiling. But again, try and make it just above your eyes so that you don't have to look up or down or whatever So we'll channel the air to the spot. If you're lying down, you can again think about pushing your tummy down to the floor as you're breathing out, pushing, and if you know, and then relax, and your tummy will go out to the ceiling. If you're standing or sitting, you know, it's still all the same principle. We're just squeezing the air out of our lungs with our diaphragm. Push, 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 push. When you get to the end of the breath, I want you to just try and push a little bit more. There's almost always a bit more air in your lungs than you think there's going to be. And if you want to put your hands on those bottom ribs and just give it a little squeeze, that's absolutely fine. Especially before, you know, if your diaphragm isn't as strong as you'd like it to be, then just, you know, help yourself along. Then we're going to hold it for a couple of seconds, or as long as we can. Then we're going to just relax, drop the diaphragm, and just allow the air to flood back in. So we're not going to actively take in a breath, we're just going to drop the diaphragm and just allow the breath to come back in. The muscular part, the bit that we work, is pushing the breath out. Then we're just going to relax to drop the diaphragm. So we push, 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 push a little bit more, hold it, then relax, drop the diaphragm, allow the air to flood back in. So whenever you're ready, please just start. I'll probably keep talking anyway. Yeah, we're just going to channel the breath. Try not to hold on to any breath, try and just in a controlled way, but we're just trying to push all the breath out of our lungs. What people often do is try and hold on to some of the breath to make it last longer, but that's not helpful for this exercise. We want to just get rid of all the breath. If you try and hold on to some, then you need to breathe in again before your lungs are empty, so then you take in another breath, and then you keep taking in air on top of air, and eventually you're basically hyperventilating. That's what hyperventilating is. So we just want to get rid of all the air. Okay, so come to the end of whatever breath that you're currently on, and then we're going to switch to a f sound. So try not to make your mouth shape be, because you're closing the space, and it makes it very difficult to get enough air out quickly enough. And then people's faces start to go a bit red, you know. So we want it to be nice and open. When you get to the end of the breath, push a little bit more, then hold it, and then relax, drop the diaphragm. Like I've said before, you know, we're stretching ourselves, so it's okay to feel out of your comfort zone. But, you know, if anything feels unpleasant or weird and, you know, you feel like it's wrong, then just stop or be a bit more gentle on yourself, okay? And all the while, just, you know, think about different parts of your body. Has any tension crept in? Are you clenching a fist? Are you leaning on one side? Are you, you know, clenching your bum? Anything where there's tension, just try and relax out of it. Don't beat yourself up when bad habits creep in, because it's all tension. So if you get stressed about it, you'll probably just add to the tension. So just try and relax out of it. Just try and think of the correct posture that you want to try and achieve, and just relax. Okay, so we're going to come back, finish the whatever breath you're currently on. Let's just have a little shake it. And a stretch. And yawn. So remember that nice open throat feeling that you get when you yawn. That's a very good position for your throat to be in when you're singing or public speaking or anything, so just try and remember that nice open feeling. Okay, so we'll get back into our comfortable position, whether you're sitting, standing, lying down. We just want feet hip distance apart, weight equally distributed between the big toe, the outside of the foot, and your heel. If you're nice long straight back, nice long neck, shoulders down. If you're sitting, you're just going to pretty much be in the same position, just sitting. You can have your arms by your side or resting on your lap if that's more comfortable. If you're lying down, try and be in the semi-supine position, knees pointing to the ceiling. So it's still kind of the same position, it's just horizontal kind of thing, but with bent knees pointing up to the ceiling. And we're just going to find the spot that is our eye level, and then we're just going to close our eyes. And I just want you to breathe completely normally. You're going to push with your diaphragm to squeeze the air out of your lungs, then relax, drop the diaphragm and just allow the air to flood back in. You don't have to hold it between breaths this time. You're just going to get into a normal sort of breathing rhythm. You can breathe through your nose or your mouth. It's up to you, or a combination of both. That's up to you. But what I definitely want you to do is be concentrating on the diaphragm, pushing and squeezing the air out of your lungs, and then relaxing, dropping, and just allowing the air to flood back in. And so you're just going to breathe basically. Very good. So now I want you to start to listen to whatever sounds you can hear outside the room that you're in. So it might be raining, there might be cars driving past, birds tweeting. It might be completely silent, but then you're going to listen to that silence, and you're just going to concentrate on pushing with your diaphragm to squeeze the air out of your lungs, then relaxing, dropping the diaphragm and allowing the air to flood back in. And all the while you're listening to whatever you can hear outside the room. You still might hear other sounds in the room. You might have other thoughts and concerns and stresses swimming around your head. And that's okay, because you can't block them completely, but you're just not going to listen to them. And just for this brief time, they're going to just slowly melt away, because you're going to listen to the sounds that you can hear outside the room that you're in. And all the while, push with your diaphragm, squeeze the air out of your lungs, then relax, drop the diaphragm and just allow the air to flood back in. to continue pushing with your diaphragm, squeezing the air out of your lungs, then relaxing, dropping the diaphragm and just allowing the air to flood back in. Now I want you to take one step closer with your mind's eye, and you're just going to listen to whatever you can hear inside the room that you're in. So there might be a clock ticking, there might be a dishwasher, there might be a radiator buzzing. It might be completely silent. Then you're going to listen to that silence, and all the while you're going to push with your diaphragm to squeeze the air out of your lungs. Then relax, drop the diaphragm and just allow the air to flood back in. Continue pushing with your diaphragm, squeezing the air out of your lungs, then relaxing, dropping the diaphragm, allowing the air to flood back in. Now I want you to take another step closer with your mind's eye, and now I want you to listen to whatever sounds your own body is making. So you might be able to hear your heartbeat, you might hear yourself breathing, you might be completely silent. You're going to listen to that silence, and all the while you're going to push with your diaphragm to squeeze the air out of your lungs. Then relax, drop the diaphragm and just allow the air to flood back in. So now I want you to continue pushing with your diaphragm, squeezing the air out of your lungs, then relaxing, dropping the diaphragm and just allowing the air to flood back in. Now I want you to put these three things together. So you're going to listen to your own body, you're going to listen to the room that you're in, and you're going to listen to the world outside the room that you're in. And all the while you're going to push with your diaphragm, squeezing the air out of your lungs, then relax, drop the diaphragm, and allow the air to flood back in. And you're going to feel yourself in this space and your connection to the surroundings. Feel yourself present in this moment and feel your presence in this moment. Slowly, in your own time, just open your eyes, take a little look around, just feel yourself in the space. Excellent session, everybody. So, if you are lying down and you want to stand up, as before, just roll onto your side and then push up onto your knees, then just kneel up, one foot, then the other, just slowly stand. Don't stand up too quickly because you can get a head rush. Okay, excellent session, everybody. So, as usual, we're going to finish with a little sing song, partly just because it's fun and it's very healthy to do something that's fun. Also, it's an opportunity to put some of this breathing technique into practice. So as we sing, we're going to push with our diaphragm to squeeze the words out, and then we're going to relax, drop our diaphragm to take the in-breath. This week's song is Till There Was You, so there should be a link in the description to some lyrics if you need them. So whilst you're finding those, make sure you open it in a new tab. I'm just going to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Simon. I really appreciate like being able to do this with some people, even if we are all on different continents or wherever we are. It really does make my day. And special thank you obviously to everybody who is supporting me on Patreon or PayPal. But even if you're not, I still appreciate you being here. Don't feel obligated. Yeah, so I will be back tomorrow and weekdays 11 a.m. So if you know anyone else that you think might get anything positive out of these sessions, please tell them to give it a try. Okay, so hopefully we've got the lyrics and we're all ready, so I'll just begin. There were bells on a hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all, till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all, till there was you. Then there was music and wonderful roses, they tell me, and sweet fragrant meadows of dawn and dew. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all, till there was you. Thank you very much. Have a great Monday and have a wonderful rest of your week. Hopefully I will see you again soon. Lots of love and keep breathing. Bye.